In today's video, we're going to talk more in more detail about the 7 and 7 rule that debt collectors must follow when they're attempting to collect a debt from you. If they're calling you for the original creditor or they're calling you for themselves because they've purchased your debt. This is a rule that they have to follow, but there is a lot of misconceptions out there about it because some people are telling you not to respond to debt collectors, and that could actually be allowing them to do more things to you, like place information on your credit reports. But for this video, the purposes of this video is we're going to just dig deep into the 7 and 7 rule because you can utilize this rule to actually benefit you when dealing with debt collectors. And potentially, if a debt collector slips up and contacts you 8 times within 7 days, you will be able to sue them. But if you don't want to take them to court, you could just send them a nice demand letter to cease all collection activities for the debt that they're trying to attempting to collect against you. So now here's the basics of the 7 and 7 rule. I'm going to just read straight from how it's written. It prohibits a debt collector from calling you more than 7 times within 7 consecutive days. Contacts are cumulative and not specifically restricted to a single attempt to contact you per day for those 7 days. So basically what that means is that they can call you 1 time per day for 7 days, and they're not supposed to call you at the same time. They're supposed to call you at different times, but that's a little gray area. So it's illegal for a debt collector to keep contacting you within those 7 days if they have a conversation with you. A conversation is considered an engagement. So watch out for the keywords. An engagement means that they contacted you and you answer the phone and you talk to them. Even if you just hung up in their face, you still talk to them if you said something that's considered an engagement. Now, don't think that you're just going to answer the phone and then you're going to kind of trap them because you just hang up right away. That's why they record the call. So an engagement means that they talk to you about that specific debt. If they have an engagement, the whole process has to start over and they cannot talk to you about that debt for a whole nother 7 days. So on the 8th day after they had an engagement with you, they can call you and say, hey, has anything changed? Let's talk about this debt. Now, if the original creditor has the debt and it has not charged off yet, they can call you day after day after day after day after day after day after day. That's a misconception that a lot of people don't understand. If the debt has not charged off, they can call you every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. And even if they engage with you on the phone, they can still call you the next day to see if anything changed and they want to talk to you about, or if anything changed and if you're going to be able to make a payment. They can do that. But once it charges off, it goes into a collection status, and then they're going to be under this 7 and 7 rule. Now, let's talk about the contacts because there's a lot of misconceptions about what is considered a contact. Is it just the phone, email? Like, what is a contact? A contact is phone. A contact is email. A contact is maybe they send you a pre-recorded message. Maybe they send you a text. Maybe they hit you up on social media. Whatever way that's considered a contact. So if they just combine all of those and just pick one mode, one method of communications for that day, and they just rotate it, as long as they don't go past 7 contacts within 7 days without talking to you, then they're within the 7 and 7 guidelines. Now, here's some things that you need to be aware of when they're contacting you, especially if they're using social media, especially if they're using email. They cannot contact you on social media where other people can see that conversation. They are not allowed to contact you. Debt collectors are not allowed to contact you on social media if other people can see that conversation. So if you're commenting on a post, they can't just bust in there and say, hey, John, this is so-and-so from debt collection company. We're trying to attempt to contact you about that credit card debt that you owe. They cannot do that. Also, they must identify themselves. They can't just try to jump in there, get you conversating and say, oh, hey, this is such and such debt collection company. Uh, now that I got, we got some back and forth going, I wanted to notify you that I'm a debt collector trying to collect on a debt. They cannot use that foolishness to try to get you to communicate with them. Now, when it comes to email, they cannot use an email that is your company email unless, here is the caveat, unless you use that as your public email address, which I'm pretty sure your boss does not want you using your company email address to get emails from your friends, family, and whoever else you're communicating with. So they have to communicate with you through the email, through your personal email, not through your company email. And again, you don't want your boss seeing that stuff either, because if your boss is like me, has access to everybody's email, and some companies utilize keywords, and it will pop up and it will automatically send a copy of that email to whoever is monitoring the emails on the email system for your company. So now, to review, the 7-in-7 rule: debt collectors cannot contact you more than one time per day, and they're not even supposed to call you at the same time per day for 7 days. And then if they make an engagement with you, that means that they talk to you on the phone and you talk to them. Even if you say, I can't afford to pay it, you're going to have to hold off. That's an engagement. They have to wait a whole nother 7 days before they can call you back. And then here's some of the things that you can do. But what I'm about to tell you now is based off of your own goals and your situation. Now, you can tell them to cease all telephone type uh, activities, communications with you, and to communicate only in writing. You also have the option to tell them on social media and on email to not communicate with you that way. You can opt out of that communication. You can tell them to send it to you in writing, and then you can review it. And then you can communicate back with them, because you do not want them to proceed forward, especially if this is a debt that you will have to pay. You want to just keep the communications open and then deal with that at a later date when you're either able to do a lump sum settlement or to do a payment arrangement with them. You just want to keep that communications open, and that's going to be pertaining to your goals. Now, if this is a debt that you just want to fight all the way because you believe that if a debt collector buys your debt, you want to make them prove everything, which you should, but if you do that, you could force their hand into suing you in court. And if you're not prepared to go through that, then you need to understand that you might want to do the other route, where you would validate the debt, but you would keep the communications open, let them know your financial situation, and that you'll be dealing with that debt later, and that they can call you once a month to see how things are going. That will usually stop a debt collector from taking you to court, because you have that communications open with them. So with the 7-in-7 rule, it is real. Uh, 7-in-7 means that they cannot just call you 8 times within 7 days. If they do that and you have it recorded, you will be able to, at minimum, get them to stop coming after you for the debt. And if you want to, if you have it fully documented, you can sue them, and you should be able to get at least a minimum of $1,000 per violation if you can prove it. But if you can prove it and you don't want to have to go to court, you can just simply send them a demand letter telling them that you have proof, and they're going to have proof because they record every call. And what they will usually do is listen to the recordings, and they find that somehow someone slipped up and called you 8 times. They will give you an option, usually, to say, hey, we'll either pay this. Sometimes they will do that, but most of the time they'll just say that they're going to cease all collection activities. All right. Thank you for your time. I hope this cleared up some of the misconception of the 7-in-7 rule. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website, your3scores.com, to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports, and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations letter, debt validation letter, and cease and desist collection activities letter, to grab uh, to stop debt collectors from coming after you. I give you the instructions on each of those letters on how to use them. Use only the one that pertains to your specific situation. I do ask for a donation on those, but that can help literally save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars if you dispute that debt right and do the debt validation right directly with the debt collector. There's other links below here if you're being sued by debt collection companies or even the original creditor. We have a service to help you out with that. If you're looking at settling debt, we can help you out with that. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of the CreditRepairShop.com.